can not only provide some great ideas, but I think we can do some brainstorming to help our members around the country. So before we start, I want to just go over a little bit of housekeeping on how to use Zoom if you're new to it. I think that I'm told, screen, if you look at your lower left-hand corner, there is a mute button. You may have to move your mouse. Come up. Bless you, whoever that was. What we would ask is that if you're in a place where there's a lot of background noise and things of that nature, mute yourself and then unmute it when you want to talk. And then also up at the top and corner, there should be an option, speaker view, which means you just get the picture of the person doing the speaking, or the one that I think is the more fun, that's the gallery, which is kind of what I have right now. So everybody's picture is up there, unless they have opted to only do audio. You know, if maybe they're in a location where they can't be live, or they're going to listen, but they don't want us to see them. Maybe they didn't put on their makeup this morning. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, and then there is a chat section on the right where you can type in a question or a comment. But you know what? This is really kind of a networking brainstorming. So I think we should keep all of our questions and our comments verbal as opposed to written, because I think that just makes more sense for this kind of a meeting. So anybody else have any questions? Are you having any problems with Zoom? Is everybody ready to go?
Let's go.
I see a thumbs up. Okay, very good. Well, then we're going to proceed. And as I said, we may have other people coming on, but that's great. You know, the more the merrier. You just will get smaller on the screen if you're in gallery mode as the more people join us. Okay, so I want to first start by commending our leadership team. I mean, I think that they have really responded to this situation that we now find ourselves in a very rapid way. And so I want to commend them, because I think it says they're very creative. I think they're responsive, they've adapted, and I think those are all very important things. So to the staff and to the leadership team, I want to thank you all for what you're doing. Okay, so what I want to talk about first off is that Women's Council has been called an experiential.
Someone has a TV on.
Oh, somebody has a TV on. Okay, if you can mute yourself. Oh no, I hear something.
Yeah, this is Cindy from staff. If you're not speaking, please put your computer on mute.
Yeah.
You do that in the lower left-hand corner where you'll see mute.
That's the doorbell. Hold on a second.
Check to see who's at your door.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that seems to be better. So thank you for that. Okay, I want to talk about the fact that Women's Council has been called an experiential organization, meaning that our members really enjoy the experience of coming together, networking, sharing ideas, and fostering relationships. Now, we just heard that many of our local and state meetings have been canceled for the next couple of months. And yesterday, NAR announced that the meeting in May would be. So what I want to talk about today is how, as leaders of the organization, can we still provide that experience for our members? How can we deliver value to them in this environment that we currently find ourselves in? So I'm just going to open it up to anyone that would like to jump in. If you have ideas and suggestions, or if you know of something that's already being implemented that you want to share with the group, we'd love to hear it.
Well, this is Cheryl Hunter.
Uh-huh.
So Peggy and I were talking yesterday, and we're talking about having lunch dates with the leaders, and many of them are still working through their standing rules and maybe going through their standing rules and things like that with them. And also, she has on this mask with a glass of wine for happy hour.
Okay.
With the mask.
And Cheryl, introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and where you're from, just in case they don't know.
Okay, this is Cheryl Hunter from Texas, and I am the president this year.
So tell us a little more about what you're planning. You're going to do a happy hour, and how are you going to set that up with your members?
We will do something similar to what we're doing right here.
Okay.
Because I know many of them, we have a lot of new leadership in our networks, and they are going to need help writing their standing rules. So we'll just do it similar to what we're doing right here.
Okay.
And just go through page by page.
Wow. Okay. So not only is it educational, but it's also going to be sort of a bonding opportunity as well. Kind of a work almost, you might say.
This is Christine Citrano from Florida. And does anyone know if there is a maximum capacity for how many people can actually be on one Zoom session? I mean, I could probably find that out, but does anybody here know?
I think
there's different plans.
There are
Tammy
different
has
plans.
some experience with that, don't you, Tammy?
Yeah, well, I can host up to 50 on my Zoom account,
Okay.
but you can order additional accounts and go up as high as 1,000, depending upon.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't see everybody.
Yeah.
So I would be selective as to, because this is really good, seeing everybody's face, which is really what this is about right now. Reaching out virtually and seeing each other. So I would do something like this, but you can go up to as high as 1,000 if you need to.
And does the cost vary based on the number of people that you're serving? Is that how you're nodding your head? You know?
I paid $149 for the Zoom account, but
Okay.
what I've also done is I've given it out to all of the presidents and the leadership, so they can use my account whenever they want. They all have access to it, or they can continue to do Zoom meetings. This way it's not an additional cost to the networks.
And that's actually a suggestion that I was going to make, is that depending on the size of your state and the number of people and networks, you might even consider doing one Zoom account that then everybody could utilize. That would certainly be a great way to stay in touch and again, provide lots of different meetings or task force, workforces, governing board meetings, instructional meetings. You could even do speakers. And then also too, I don't know if everybody is aware, but there is a free conference call service. So if you're doing something that you can handle via conference call, I think it's called freeconferencecall.com. And
Yes, it is. I use it all the time.
yeah, and
Yeah, and
there's
it's
no
great.
charge for that. So again, that's a
Does it have the virtual?
Also, right?
No, it's just a call in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But it
'Cause
can
I
be
thought they sent
recorded.
me something about video also.
The Zoom.
I'm sorry, say that again, Cheryl.
They sent something out to me about using video also. I just haven't looked at it yet.
On free conference?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
One of the things that I like about it, and Zoom for that matter too, is that you can record them at the sessions, and then if someone is not on the call, you can send out that recording so that they can watch it at their convenience.
Okay,
Zoom, you can go.
good to know. Good to
Zoom is
know.
free for 40 minutes for 100 users.
Wow.
Ken?
And you can record it.
Okay, good.
Y'all know I talk too long to be on it for 40 minutes, so that will never work for me.
Are you a bit wordy? Is that what you're telling me?
Just a bit. I'm I'm learning not to be so wordy.
Okay.
Joanne?
Well, you know, did somebody say my name?
Yes, me, Rose.
Oh, okay.
I just have an idea. I just heard this today.
Okay.
That get people started or almost feeling like they're having like a lunch, do the virtual lunch.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
could do it with you could do it with this, with Zoom, but at least everybody's having a lunch and you're having a great discussion, but it will make you feel together instead of apart.
Correct.
So that's just an idea.
I agree. I agree. And
Yeah, my
Tammy?
daughter, Tammy.
Okay, I got it, I think. Okay, so I heard one today. I haven't tried it, but I think I need to. Facebook Watch Party.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I did that last night.
Yeah. So you can do it as networking, right?
Yes.
So say you wanted to, always like talk to a couple of people and you like got canceled. You just invite them to your Facebook face party. It can be for all your clients. It can be for all of your vendors. You're trying to still get information out to them on listings and blah, blah, blah. You can have a party, Facebook block party.
And what a great way to involve your strategic partners.
Absolutely.
If we've had canceled meetings, how are they going to get the value for their money? So inviting them to be a part it is that you're doing, I think is great. So don't forget to include them so that they feel that they are getting some value and some exposure to the membership for their strategic partner dollars.
That's good. That's good.
You have something you were going to say? Did I miss something? I thought you were going to make a comment.
Who?
Okay. Okay, so I think one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, a friend of mine from the Dallas area talked about doing she called it a Zoom call happy hour the other evening, but it wasn't really a business meeting at all. It was just a group of her friends who at 7:00 at night, they all sat down and dialed into Zoom and they had the beverage of their choice and all kind of just, I guess, had a happy hour together. That's really what that was about. So I think that we can certainly take some of these ideas and expand them and utilize them not only in reaching out to our members, but our clients, our business clients as well. And I think that's a great idea. Anybody else have seen any other kind of new and different? Tammy?
I was wondering, has anybody used the 3D virtual tour of the 3D virtual pictures? I read something online today about them using 3D. Anybody heard or seen anything about that?
Well, I've seen 3D pictures, but
Pictures.
Fiona, you have?
Yeah, we've actually used it as well. So we have a 360 camera.
Okay.
Him in the
Does it-
picture there is actually Google certified, so he can go out and do all sorts of things as well. That's Colin, by the way. Colin, wave.
Hi, Colin. And Fiona, does that work better for specific situations, or how would you recommend that technology?
I mean, I'm seeing it can be stitched in with the Matterport, so you can do virtual tours without having to do the Matterport, and they're pretty affordable.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this morning that Best Buy is actually now selling them. We
Oh,
actually
really?
got ours at CAR last year from Ricoh, RICOH, which is what the brand of the camera that we have.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, we've been playing with that and working with it. And of course, we're going to be implementing it full force. We have a couple of listings coming up. So
I was going to say, is this going to be ways to show property? Is this
Yes.
a way to also maybe host an open house and have the property previewed or highlighted? Is that how you see
kind of
it?
in lieu of a it's like a virtual open house.
Yeah.
Right.
You walk through
Okay,
as if you were there.
good idea.
Mhm.
I think the owner on this one, the owner did not want, the house was listed, but in lieu of all this, the owner did not want anybody walking through the property. So they created a 3D tour and put that on instead, but also added a piece where they could speak to the agent while the tour was going on for any particular questions. And I know me and Christina talked this morning a little bit about our local associations have now added a new addendum to our contracts for the COVID-19. So I was specifically talking about the part about the due diligence, because the due diligence, it's going to be a little tough because they're going to have to gain access in. So that's just another hurdle we're going to have to come over. But the 3D is supposed to be really good right now for those homeowners that have their house listed that just don't want people walking through their home, but still keep the business going.
Right.
Mhm.
I had an inspection on Tuesday. There are 6 people that live there in any case, and I actually had to ask them to leave because my inspector, who was already dressed in a hazmat suit, would not come inside with the number of people inside.
Wow.
That was quite the exciting inspection. But
Yes.
The stories we can tell.
yeah, it's the new normal, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it is. And you know, I'm reading more about fewer people are putting their homes on the market right now because they don't want all these people coming through. I'm also reading where, of course, open houses are being discouraged, but in the showing of the property. So if we're going to continue to earn a living in this industry, we're going to have to come up with an alternative. And so I like all of these different ideas on ways to do things. I mean, some of them are already done, but now we're going to do them better.
And the one other thing that came up is the fair housing, to make sure that, you know, if we're going to change our business practices, that we make sure we apply it to everyone. You know, if you're used to driving people around in your car and now you're not going to, then make sure that you change your plan and don't drive anybody in your car, instead of being selective. Like if somebody starts coughing, okay, you're driving in your car. You just want to not do that. Just saying. And our NAR put that out too, to just be very mindful that we are still following fair housing, and just because, you know, this came from a particular country doesn't mean that we don't need to follow the fair housing rules. So just keep that in mind, and something for us to pass down to the local networks as well. You know, things that we forget that could get us in trouble if we don't follow them.
Yes, excellent point.
It's, I know there's so many networks here in Texas that had so much momentum going, and it's sort of sad to see everything shut down. But a number of them are holding virtual meetings, and we just have to be creative in keeping in touch with them. And what I have found, WhatsApp, all the presidents and the president-elects are on it. And that seems to be one avenue where everyone is looking at it, because it's so difficult for people to get people to look at emails anymore. But it's sad. It's a sad reality, but yeah, a lot of momentum will be lost. We used to, on our membership team, we would get a pizza and some wine, and 3 or 4 of us would call each member And, you know, if they hadn't, if, you know, just to see how they were doing, have you renewed your membership? If you hadn't, we can do it for you now and things like that. So I think we're going to have to start just engaging all of our members. And some of them have been exposed to the virus. So that's another opportunity to find out if their families are okay.
That's exactly good, Cheryl.
Yes.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Really, that's.
And Joanne,
Yes, ma'am.
you know, I've been hearing everywhere, and I'm sure all of us have, that video right now is the way to go with anything. Like, we want to communicate with people, even do video messages or things like that. I mean, I even did it with my grandchildren this morning just to say, hey, I'm here, you know, but it does work, and they see you. And I think we all have to use that a little bit more, including me.
I think you're exactly right.
Me too.
You know, in everything that I have read, it says that the most important factor in leading through change is communication.
Yes.
So we, I think, as leaders, should be communicating to our members as often as we can, if in many forms as we can, because let's face it, some people are more proficient in one kind of communication versus another. But, you know, I think that change is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And all you have to do is turn on the news, as we know, and you can be panicked, even if you're a calm and normal person. But I'm just thinking that sometimes how we say things is more important than what we say.
It's true.
Reaching out to people to check on them, to find out how they are, and letting them know that as leaders, you're all there to help them if they're having difficulty getting through this. I think, you know, technology has certainly come a long way, and we're learning to use it even more so than we did before, and we're having to become more proficient. But I think that, again, relationships is one of the important factors of this organization. It's why a lot of people join. And I think that we need to continue to have those relationships with the people. We need to touch them. And it may be, how's your meeting? How's your family? I don't happen to have any children at home, but think about our members who are home, they're trying to work, they're trying to run maybe their network, and they have small children at home as well. I mean, gee, that's a lot to deal with. So maybe you take into consideration they have small children, and maybe you schedule meetings or things when the children are at naps, or maybe they've gone to bed for the evening, and maybe you do something later in the day to, I think it's a great time to even survey our members. What's the best time for you to meet? How would you like to meet? What form of technology works best for you? Because I do think that how we engage members at all levels of the organization is very important. And I think we have to listen to what they say. We have to allow an opportunity for them to give input. Maybe a survey is one way, but certainly reaching out and trying to talk to them. I think when members are engaged, then they're going to be more likely to be on board with the change. You're staying in contact with them on a regular basis. Maybe they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, and they're more easily adaptive to the change as it's going.
Another thing that I find, Joanne, is writing a personal note. Thank you for holding this network together. thank you for, I mean, we see what you're doing out there, and that seemed to touch a lot of people. People who never respond to an email or anything, you write them a personal note, and all of a sudden they're your best friend. They respond to everything. So just sending the local presidents a personal note to thank them for, you know, keeping it all together during these trying times would be, I think will be very well appreciated.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Joanne, you know, we mentioned some of the other sources. I love the idea of the survey. That's really great. You know, did they fill it out? Who knows, but at least you did it. GoToWebinar, I was on 2 of those this morning already. That's another one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, GoToWebinar. They tape everything too. The other thing is talking about, you know, talking to your grandkids, Rose, is you know, we have FaceTime and Skype still,
Yes.
you know, too. So that's a nice one-on-one, you know, potentially that they're already in your phone, you know, you just hit the button and, you know, you're on your face again. And you can kind of, you know, run through that with those folks. So, you know, I hadn't used Skype in a while, but I was like, oh yeah, that's another one.
It is still there.
Just some people out there, they're, you know, using it. So,
Right.
you know, again, just reminders of stuff that was brought up in one of the calls this morning too. That's it.
You know, I read something that really resonated with me, and it was to embrace technology, but to empower people. And I loved that. And I thought, okay, this is a way that we can communicate to our members, particularly maybe our local leaders, about ways that they can utilize the technology and all these different forms that we've talked about and reach out and touch their membership. And again, I think you pick the form based on what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Miss Joanne, it's Lorna Moody from Florida.
How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. One of the things that I have been doing is just randomly selecting strategic partners, and like Cheryl said, send them a card so they know at the state level we are mindful of them, so that when the network president reach out to them, it will be easier to have that communication going. And another thing I wanted to just point out, to which affects all of us, I had a listing, and I had to take it off the market because the owner of the house had a young child, and she said to me, you know what, I just don't want anyone around. So I said, I think the best thing for us to do is just to take it off the market for now. So just want to just get that out there, that can happen to us.
Yeah. I think we're actually hearing a lot of that. And then in addition to the younger children, even, you know, they're saying that the older, anybody over 60 is, they're saying maybe part of the group that's the more susceptible to the virus. And so, you know, if they have people in the home that are elderly, I won't say elderly because I'm probably not too far from that group. Shall we just say more susceptible to the illness? I think that's probably going to be taken into consideration in listing. I see our inventory drop in the next several months.
Well, per my grandchildren, I'm part of the elderly group.
Christina, what did you?
Yeah, they did. I just heard on the news today that it actually is about 30%, I believe they said, were in the age group of 20 to 50. The ones that are, you know, have the virus. So, you know, it's not just affecting, you know, that was a misconception, I think, previously. Okay. It's not just affecting the people of 60 and above.
Okay.
And I just want to say that I want to see all y'all after this is over with. I mean, you know, we had a member that passed away right when this happened, and None of us can go to the funeral,
Aw.
very. So, although this is crazy and it's crazy times, my heart goes out to all the presidents that were gung ho, excited and ready to start their year. And now all of a sudden they're like, wham. So a lot of love, a lot of calls, just saying, hey, and, we're going to get through this. And the members are the same way. Like me and like all of you, just seeing your faces right now really means a lot to me. Like I told Joanne, I wish I would do this with her instead of call her on the phone. I spoke to
So now we will.
I spoke to at least 5 of you already, and I called you on the phone. I don't think I'll ever call you again. I think I want to see your face because our worlds have changed for a moment, and it may be longer than we think. But I know our presidents, they wanted to have a successful year, and I think they still will. I think they're going to shock us, and the members now are going to see the value with so much. Nationals came out the gate running with these virtual. I think we set the bar high for any other organization. And hats off again to the national team and our staff, because really,
Amen to that.
Yes, I'm serious. I am in woo.
Yes.
I'm fighting between which ones I want to see, but thank God they're being recorded so I can go back and look, and then I'm just sharing them on the Facebook Live. Like Chris and them tried to do their video the other day and it wouldn't work. Me and Christina called each other and we're like, where's the video? We wanted to see it. So then I done a Facebook Live party at night, and a lot of people got a chance to see it that normally wouldn't have. So, I try to, I'm an emotional person, so I try not to be so emotional, but I put a video out that I can't even share because I was just a nervous wreck, because I really just want our presidents to know how much we love them and we're there for them. And, what else can we do but look at them and tell them we love them and we're there for them? That's the main thing.
I agree with you. I think that's so important. And, something I want to share with you, I don't know how many of you were around, but in 2008, when we went through the economic kind of crash around the country, some of the local networks at that time kind of talked about decreasing the number of meetings and things that they would have. And frankly, the strategic partners were not spending money either. So they couldn't find the funding, and they had a situation where people just didn't have that kind of extra money to go to lunch or to come to a meeting. And, one of the things in hindsight that I saw happen that I think was probably hurt is that they went to fewer meetings as a result. And of course, we didn't have the technology that we have now, but it's something about that constant touch, that constant involvement and being with one another, regardless of how you do it, I think is what's going to prove people that can do that. The organizations that use that successfully are the ones that are going to come out on top in this situation. And so I agree that Women's Council jumped out there early. And now all of you on this call are leaders in the organization. And I'm hoping that you will be able to take some of these ideas and implement them in your states, in your regions, in your networks. Because I think that's what our members are waiting to hear. They want some direction. They want some suggestions. How do we get through this? And I think the messages coming from you will make all the difference in the world.
And it's how we end up. It's where we are at the end of this. It's what we've done through this, which will, I believe we will soar higher than we probably ever have been because of how we are going through this and where we end up. What I don't want to hear at the end is, where were you? You weren't there. Well, they're not going to say that about us, because promise you, they're going to be like, God, stop the video. But, this is going to end, and when it does, I'd rather them say, "Thank God you were there," even through a video, than us playing cricket. You know?
And it's just being a family, right?
Yeah.
Again,
It's that
like
culture.
we're getting closer almost.
Yes.
And we're all going through it together. It's not just one of us.
And you know the funny thing, Rose, is I was telling Chris, and I'm just talking because I really haven't talked to a damn soul, but Oliver, he is so sick of hearing me. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, please Zoom me. I will Zoom in. But I'm getting to see snow. If Cindy were to come up, Cindy has snow. I see the sun in Christina. I see Christina Carol's beautiful home in the back. I see Kay Merg, no makeup, love no lipstick. You know, I see Cheryl's beautiful background. I see I would have never even seen your homes. But now it's even more personal. I love your picture in the backdrop, Rose. And I finally got to see your husband, Fiona. You know, I see pictures, but there he is in the background shaking his head. So, you know, I want to just pick my dog up and let y'all see my dog. But I think we can really take this to the next level with this touch that we have never had a chance to have before. Like, I got to fix my backdrop. Y'all are showing me. Next time, there'll be flashing neon lights back there. Trust me. I'm gonna think of something. But
can I first of all, I want to apologize if you guys are hearing banging. I don't have large rats in my attic. I'm having a new roof put on.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I know, it's been kind of crazy, but it's all good. But I just want two ideas that I have that I am going to implement here in Florida, and I have been reaching out to my local presidents, to my leadership team, Lorna being one of them, just trying to keep them in the loop, letting them know what National is doing. But one of the things that I am going to put together, we have 29 local networks. And we have approximately 13 districts, and each district has anywhere between 3 to 5 networks within it. So I'm going to put together a Zoom call much like this for each district, and it's going to be a mastermind group so that I can get on the phone, get on these Zoom calls with these local presidents, and let's have them mastermind some ideas. What are you guys doing to help with your membership, to keep your strategic partners engaged, to continue to offer benefits to your strategic partners, and let them come together as a group so that they can, you know, pick up on each other's ideas and thoughts and run with it. And then the other thing that I am going to be doing is, and I think maybe if I can utilize this Facebook Watch or Block Party, is thinking about our state strategic partners and, you know, them looking at the situation going, great, I just gave you all this money and what am I going to get out of it? Is giving each one of them an opportunity to do a video like this in an interview style with me, to just ask them questions, have them tell us about their services, what are they doing, how has this current situation changed their business, things along that nature, and put that out to my members as a benefit to them to get their name and their services out to everybody. Because everybody right now recognizes, I think, that we are all in this together, but depending on how long this lasts, there could be some long tail repercussions as far as next year's support. And that is what concerns me. So we need to stay together now, but we also need to be fostering our continued relationship going into the future.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think that's an excellent idea, and you know, I think it's very powerful to maybe engage your strategic partners and have them share with your membership how this has affected their business and their livelihood. And I think, again, it becomes that we're all in this together, and how can we work together to resolve it and to come out on the other side. So I think those are great ideas.
that's a good point. I was talking to Rose earlier, and I might have been Rose or Christina. I was saying that Active Pest Control came to the house today, and they normally come inside. It was a quarterly thing. But he says to us, unless you actually have, active bugs, then we're not coming in. We are only going to do the outside. And he said that is a precaution for us and for you. So unless you really have, bugs, we're not gonna come in. So I love that. That's really good, Joanne. I didn't even think about that.
Well, they are our partners, so we need to kind of think about that, and that they too are going through many of the same issues that we're dealing with. So
I've been putting them on the website, on our Facebook page, but I like this concept much more than just putting their videos on our Facebook page. This is powerful.
I agree. And, another thought that I had, and I've not tried this before, but I know that some of the real estate schools use Zoom to conduct classes. And I think that actually part of our virtual training, Becky Hill is going to do a class. And she teaches a lot at Champion School of Real Estate here in Texas on Zoom. But think about the possibility of even a local network or district that had a speaker that they brought in, and depending on how many people are involved, bring the speaker in and let the speaker deliver a presentation, if you will. And then with the Zoom capability, you've got the opportunity for people in the audience to even ask questions. So again, depending on size, you may be limited on how that works exactly. It probably wouldn't be an industry event, but it could possibly be something of a small scale. Of course, you're saying you can get up to 1,000 people. So that would be an industry event, no doubt.
I am currently teaching a principal's class by Zoom because I was in the middle of it, and had to take on a whole new learning skill, which is learning how to teach on Zoom 4 hours in the evening. And so it's been interesting. There are some technical things that happen. People have to have enough power, on their devices, as well as sometimes the video's there but no sound. So they are chatting. They send their questions or comments they'll do by chat. So, we just have to kind of think about that. If we have a class, how would we be able, who would monitor while the person who's teaching is able, and deal with those issues that come up.
Correct. Good point. We'd have to have an administrator, if you will.
If I may, one of the thoughts that I had, because I had suggested to my local presidents that if they had an event where they were going to have a speaker and they have decided to cancel that event, perhaps what they could do is have that speaker do a webinar for their members. But the one question I have not been asked, but I've asked myself, is if these networks were taking advantage of having that speaker and charging their members as a way of, creating revenue, how would they be able to do that with a webinar? Or is that just something that they would just chalk up to one of the things that they would give to their members in this time of crisis and not intend to make any money? Because, they need money to fund themselves too. Now, with Washington being out of the picture, that's one less expense that the networks will have. And, if they're canceling luncheons and things like that, those are less expenses that they're going to have. But trying to come up with some balance between, being able to provide their members with content and benefits of being a member, and yet also still having it to some extent to create some revenue. So I'm not really sure. I'd be curious what anybody else has thinking about with regard to that.
Have they said they're reimbursing the mid-year fees? I didn't see that or hear that anywhere.
Yeah,
They
Yes.
are.
they
They
did
are.
say that.
I reached out today and they told me that those have been taken care of. You will be reimbursed.
All right,
And you don't
thank you.
have to do anything. It will just
No,
be automatic.
automatic.
So to your question, Christine, would you not consider, or would someone not consider charging a more nominal fee to cover the cost of the speaker coming in and spending an hour or two or however long that was already put into place for? Because you don't have lunch anymore, so you don't have that expense, but
Right, but if they were to have canceled the event and that speaker that was going to be there is therefore no longer coming in to speak, and their members are not going to wherever the speaker was going to be, whatever the venue was, and instead what I'm suggesting is that they have a webinar with that speaker. The speaker could do it from their home. Their members can listen in from their home, much like we are doing here. And would that webinar then, would that webinar be offered free to their members, or which is wonderful. It's fantastic. But just also trying to be mindful of the potential need that the network has to generate some revenue in some way, shape, or form.
So that's, if it was a charge by the speaker, would you
Yeah.
not charge a nominal to cover that? You could still do that in Eventbrite.
Yeah, you can,
Mhm.
I would think.
PRS
you
does it
still
all the
do
time.
and send them a link to
Okay.
participate.
To register.
I would
Yeah.
ask, but I would ask the speaker to make it free. I mean,
Right.
because of the situations, I always ask speakers for free anyway, no matter who they are. I don't care if you're charging 10 grand. I'm like, you're coming to us. We're gonna give you great exposure. You need to like make it free. I see though, it's probably a network consideration, because if it's for money, right? Like, and they need the money, you're gonna have to like maybe postpone that. Or as Fiona said, maybe do a little fee for that, because, again, but right now I think you can get it for free. So just add it on there. And again, try and get, bottom line, get it for free, because they'll probably do it for goodwill.
Time, give it free too.
Can I say something?
Sure, jump in there.
Hey, everyone. Two things. One, first thing that comes to mind is the cost of a luncheon never is more than just covering the cost of the luncheon. The fee of the speaker typically is some admission of something else, or covered by a sponsor or a strategic partner or something like that. So I'm not sure that you're really exchanging a cost for anything if you're doing it at home versus doing it in person. Typically, again, I kind of agree with Tammy that yes, most speakers will come in for the exposure piece, but if you really want top quality, you're going to have to pay a little bit something for it. So a couple of thoughts would be, you could absolutely do a private video meeting and have it as a controlled audience and have it for some nominal fee to at least just help offset. One, two, if the speaker is not traveling, there's no hotel, there's no air, there's no food, there's no what have you, their fee should be less. However, you get what you pay for, and sometimes getting something for free is not nearly as beneficial as it would be to pay for the quality of the content. So I would just encourage you to kind of evaluate on those 3-4 different levels, because absolutely is the number one misconception that we make money off of these luncheons or we make money off of these banquets, and that all of us who are in leadership, and I'm looking through the list, hello everyone, all of you have sponsored them, all of you have put them on, and you know darn well that that does not equate of an offset of the cost. If anything, it barely offsets the cost. So it may be a great dispel that thought that we're making money off of these. We're absolutely not. It isn't about the rubber chicken or whatever everybody likes to talk about, but it is absolutely about the networking, the being together, supporting each other, encouraging each other, and giving each other this opportunity to elevate themselves in their business and their personal practices.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. One thing we're doing in California is we have a spring meeting, so that was canceled. It was the last week of April, and we also have our elections at that time too. So we were on the phone with Jeff Hornberger, Fiona, and I trying to figure this out because we have bylaws that we need to adhere to, and we heard that National is adhering to their bylaws, so we will be doing the same. So we thought, well, if we're going to be having elections, let's have a spring meeting. So we're doing a virtual spring meeting. And one way that we thought about generating revenue is asking speakers to speak for free, but going back to the ones that have worked with us in the past and then have gone on to be booked by our local networks and be booked by National, kind of like, hey, we kind of started you out on this road to success. Can you help a sister out? So people like Kirsten O'Shields, and we have a woman named Corey Mendoza, maybe even Amber de la Garza, and having them, Julia Glide, and having them just give us an hour. Can you give us an hour? And even though they get paid for their time with coaching for an hour, maybe they will help us in this regard. The other thing we're going to do is a Facebook auction where, oh, and by the way, when we have our spring meeting, we have certain modules that we like to do. We like to do a module for leadership development, personal development, business builder, and network operations. So for those modules, we wouldn't charge anything for those, but for the keynote speakers, we would charge a very low fee. We would charge maybe $25, $50 for the keynote speakers because they are saving a lot of money by not sending their entire governing board to our meeting, which would be maybe $750 per person to come to a spring meeting. So this way, if we charge them $25 or $50 for a keynote speaker, then we still have the opportunity to generate revenue. And by doing an online auction, we could take a picture of the item that we're going to auction, or somebody could do a small little video, and we would have an album in a Facebook Live or a Facebook event. So we'd have an album, and whoever wants to bid on that item would just put the amount that they want to bid in the comments. And then we would cut it off at a particular time. But in those pictures, in that album of pictures, we would also have strategic partner logos in there. So you'd be scrolling through and you'd hit a strategic partner logo, or you hit a strategic partner, maybe a 5-second video, just something really short to give them extra exposure. And possibly have the strategic partner teach a program. That might be a possibility too. So we're being really, yeah, you like that? So we're trying to we're also doing Facebook Live Friday, where each of the leadership team will be doing a 30-minute program on Facebook Live, and in that half hour, have the strategic partner come on and do because normally during our meetings, our state meetings, we give some partners 5 minutes FaceTime, some of them 3 minutes FaceTime. So why couldn't we do that during our Facebook Live Fridays and give them that 5-minute FaceTime or that 3-minute? So we're trying, tomorrow is our first day, and it's a remote membership strategy. So I've already written down a few notes of what you guys have been talking about that I could add to that session. And then next Friday will be Rosanna Garcia, our president-elect, and she's going to be leadership strategies on how to build a pipeline. And then next after that will be Kay. There's Kay Merg, and because she's our first vice president, so that's technically our secretary position. So she's going to be doing standing by. Now it's time to do your standing rules, since we're all that type of thing. And then of course Sabrina, our treasurer, will be doing budget and taxes. So this it's like we're not going to, we want to model to our members that this is not a time to sit back and relax and just let nothing happen. It's like, we are leaders made here. This is what we do. In times of adversity, the good leaders rise to the surface. And I have an expectation for all of them to rise to the surface and level up and, and show the value of Women's Council, because our organization is so different, but I'm preaching to the choir. And before I sign off, I want to introduce you to Elmer.
Elmer.
This is Elmer, the dictator. So yeah, this is my little 15 pounds of trouble. And he didn't think that the pandemic would work. So he's not getting his treats on a daily basis because all of us are sequestered.
We can tell because he
It's
won't look
information.
at us. He won't look at us, Eileen.
He won't look at you?
No.
I
He's
know, he
looking
feels
everywhere but
guilty.
us.
Does
Yes.
he feel guilty? Right here. Maybe I put a treat right here. There we go. That little, see that little evil eye?
Oh, there was a shift.
You got the side eye.
Yeah.
Call that the stink eye.
It is
The
the
stink eye,
stink eye.
yes.
Okay, Eileen, you have to tell them your new hashtag for Women's Council.
Oh, we have a
Oh,
new
my
one.
new hashtag. It's shift happens.
Yeah.
That's my new.
That's good.
Very true. But
That
you
is.
know, Eileen, you make a valid point, and something that I had thought about earlier, but I want to also remind everybody that I think some of the greatest leaders in our organization are going to emerge at this time. And so I think it is so important for us to be watching some of those new leaders that we have. And again, we want to offer them help, assistance, guidance, but at the same time, I think we're going to see a lot of really strong leaders that are going to rise to the top. And those are the people that we want to identify and encourage to get more involved. So I think that's another outcome of this crazy time that we're going through, something else that we're going to see happen. One other thing that I did want to ask of you all is that as you go about doing these different meetings, virtual meetings, education sessions, things of that nature, if you come across something that really worked well for you, or maybe something that you tried and it just wasn't as fantastic as you thought it might be, share that with all of us, if you will. Let's continue to kind of share ideas, exchange ideas. Let's talk about, what's worked here so that somebody else can have the benefit of that and utilize it in their market as well. So I know we're getting close to an hour. So anybody else have any other comments that they want to make before we go on our our busy days?
I think this has been fantastic. Thank you all so much for, all the suggestions for, keeping our members and our leaders engaged. And Eileen, I'd love to come to your event tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah, invite us.
Yeah, I will invite all of you. I'll
Thank
invite
you.
all of you to the event tomorrow, and I will add you. I'll add you to our newsletter. I'm sending out a newsletter and a
Okay.
video. Hopefully today. I'm praying that I could do it today. Of like the schedule of events that we have going on. When it comes to we're even doing a week of position-specific training. So that's one of our most popular
that's
sessions
good.
at our state
Yes.
meetings is where we have a session for presidents and president-elects,
Right.
one for membership, one for events. They all happen concurrently.
Right.
And even though it's a 90-minute program, it's never enough time, ever. They just really struggle with what am I supposed to do?
I
But
know.
the other most important part of it
Yeah,
is the
they do. Well-
information sharing part of it.
Yes.
Holy shnikes, we have to, that's sacred time for the information sharing. So week of March 30th will be position specific every day for 90 minutes. So that's the other part of what we're doing. So let me take a screenshot. Hold on. Let me take a picture of all of you.
Well,
And
I would think that
screenshot.
Cindy or Olivia could probably give you the list of people.
The list.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody wave and smile.
Yay!
That's hysterical. That's hysterical.
I
love
love
it.
this.
Well, I just want to tell all of you how much I appreciate you being a part of this today. I think that we have exchanged some wonderful ideas. And now I'm going to be interested to hear how some of them work in practice. I think we've established the fact that we are not alone, that we will survive this and come out on the other side. And I think we will be stronger. We are more adaptive. We are creative, because after all, that's who Women's Council really is. So thank you all again for being here. I want to wish you a safe and healthy future, because who knows how long it may be. Maybe tomorrow morning we'll see each other again. But again, thank you all so much, and take off and go forth and virtually meet. Thanks a lot.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
As I say, right,
Bye-bye.
go forth and slay. That's my
There you go. Go forth and slay.
favorite. Bye.
Bye,
Go forth and slay.
Bye.